They were the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They could kill with a thought, bend reality with their will, command armies that stretched across star systems. They wore power like a second skin, and yet every single one of them died screaming inside. This is the story of the Sith Lords, not the myth, not the legend you've been sold. This is about what it actually meant to live as a god who couldn't sleep at night, to rule everything and feel nothing, to have infinite power and zero peace. Because here's the truth nobody talks about. The Sith didn't fail because the Jedi were stronger. They failed because their own philosophy ate them alive from the inside out. We need to understand something fundamental here. This isn't about good versus evil in some clean, simple way. This is about what happens when human beings, or any beings, organize their entire existence around a single toxic principle: that suffering makes you stronger, that pain is power, that the only way to transcend weakness is to become the thing that inflicts the wound. The Sith built an empire on this idea, and it destroyed every single person who touched it. Let's start with the version of the story everyone knows. The Sith Lords as dark overlords. Mysterious figures in black robes with red lightsabers, commanding legions, toppling governments, wielding the dark side of the Force like a weapon forged in hellfire. They were unstoppable. They were feared. They were, in the eyes of the galaxy, the ultimate expression of freedom from weakness. The Jedi had rules, attachments forbidden, emotions suppressed. The Sith? They embraced it all: passion, rage, desire. They said what everyone secretly thought, that denying your feelings doesn't make you strong, it makes you a liar. They claimed the dark side wasn't corruption, it was liberation. And for a long time, that story worked. It seduced thousands. Entire civilizations bowed. Even the Jedi, with all their discipline, couldn't deny the sheer effectiveness of Sith power. But here's what the galaxy didn't see, what the propaganda never showed, what even the Sith themselves refused to admit until it was too late. They were miserable, not occasionally, not in moments of doubt, every single day, every single one of them, because the dark side doesn't give you power. It loans it to you, and the interest rate is your sanity. The Sith philosophy demanded that you fuel your strength with emotion: anger, hatred, fear. But emotions aren't infinite. They burn out. And when they do, you have to dig deeper. You have to create new wounds. You have to relive old ones. You have to become a factory of your own suffering just to maintain the same level of strength you had yesterday. Darth Bane, the architect of the Rule of Two, understood this. He saw the old Sith Empire collapse not because of external enemies, but because the Sith spent more time killing each other than anyone else. So he created a system: one master, one apprentice, concentrated power, no dilution. But here's the catch. The apprentice's entire purpose was to eventually murder the master. That was the system. That was the promotion structure. Your closest relationship in the universe was with someone contractually obligated to destroy you the moment you showed weakness. Imagine that. Imagine training someone for years, teaching them everything, trusting them with your secrets, and knowing every single day that they're waiting for the moment you slip. That love, loyalty, mentorship, all of it is just a countdown to betrayal. That's not power. That's paranoia with a title. And it gets worse. Because the more powerful you became as a Sith, the more alone you were. You couldn't have friends. Friendship implied equality. You couldn't have family. Family implied attachment. You couldn't even have genuine students, because teaching someone too well meant signing your own death warrant. So what did they have? Control, domination, the ability to make others fear them. But fear isn't connection. Fear is the opposite of connection, and the Sith spent their entire lives surrounded by people who hated them, feared them, or plotted against them. Darth Sidious, the most successful Sith in history, ruled the galaxy. He commanded billions. He orchestrated the fall of the Jedi Order. He became Emperor, and he spent his final years as a rotting corpse in a throne, paranoid, alone, clinging to power because it was the only thing he had left. He didn't even enjoy it. He just couldn't let go. Darth Vader, his greatest weapon, was a man so broken that he lived inside a machine just to breathe. He had lost everything: his wife, his children, his body, his identity, and yet he served because the alternative, facing what he had done, was too unbearable. His power didn't free him. It imprisoned him inside his own guilt. Here's the paradox. The thing the Sith never solved. The thing that killed all of them. They believed that by rejecting the Jedi's restrictions, they would be free. But they weren't free. They were slaves. Slaves to their anger. Slaves to their ambition. Slaves to a philosophy that demanded they keep escalating, keep consuming, keep destroying, just to feel something. The Jedi suppressed emotion to find peace. The Sith embraced emotion to find power, but both of them ended up in the same place, disconnected from what makes life actually worth living: love, trust, purpose beyond survival. The Jedi became monks without passion. The Sith became tyrants without joy. And the cruelest irony, the dark side promised them everything: unlimited power, freedom from weakness, victory over death itself. But every Sith who chased immortality ended up as something less than alive, twisted, hollowed out. Sidious became a monster. Vader became a ghost in armor. Sion held himself together with pure hatred, his body literally decomposing while his mind refused to let go. They didn't conquer death. They just refused to accept life. And here's the final, brutal truth. The Sith were right about one thing. Emotion is powerful. Passion can fuel extraordinary things. The Jedi's suppression of feeling wasn't the answer. But the Sith made the opposite mistake. They didn't balance emotion. They weaponized it. They turned love into possession, grief into rage, fear into cruelty. And in doing so, they lost the very thing that makes power meaningful: the ability to feel something other than hunger. They ruled everything, and they felt nothing. They were emperors of empty thrones. So here's what we're left with: a cautionary tale disguised as a space opera, a warning that speaks across galaxies and centuries and fictional universes straight into the real world. Because the Sith's mistake wasn't unique to them. It's human. It's the belief that if you just accumulate enough power, enough control, enough dominance, you'll finally feel safe, finally feel whole, finally feel free. But power doesn't heal wounds. It just gives you better tools to avoid facing them. The Sith Lords ruled everything, but they couldn't escape their own despair, because despair wasn't something outside them. It was the fuel they chose, and in the end, it burned them all.